Welcome to Political Platform this beautiful Monday morning. We are on Ray Power FM, Africa Independent Television, AIT, and the Political Platform YouTube channel. I am Onyeagba Suremi. Both President Donald Trump and Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria confirmed the killing of ICE second-in-command Abu Bilal al-Minuki. I will ask Mustafa Mohammed to help me pronounce that as we go on. In a joint military operation between the US and Nigeria. As that was sinking in and people were beginning to celebrate, a total of 87 students and teachers were abducted in multiple operations by gunmen across schools in Oyo and Borno states at the weekend. In addition, fresh reports say at least 17 police officers were killed in Nigeria's northeast Yobe state after suspected Islamic militants attacked a specialized military school that also trained police officers. On the political turf, intrigues, confusion, and power play dominated the APC primaries for the selection of candidates to the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House of Representatives event took place at the weekend, and the Senate is holding today across Nigeria. We will be telling you how it all is playing out across the states, and we have a long list of incumbents who lost in the primaries. We have guests who will take us behind the scenes in these states and let us know what is actually happening. Meet my colleagues in the studio. Mustafa Mohammed, thank you for joining us.
Good morning. In fact, it's the third weekend for security issues in Nigeria. Despite the success recorded by the Nigerian army and the U.S. army, the abduction of school children and attack on training school of our security agencies is actually a sore and sad moment.
Amechi, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
What we saw was the beginning of school adoptions, for particularly the Chibok. It came down to Yobe, came down to Bauchi, and then went to north west. And we started to see adoptions up to Kaduna, and then it came to Kwara.
Now moved to North Central, Niger, Kwara,
we are
now Ekiti, Oyo State. The one who asks is the next Lagos.
No, I'm looking at the global picture of the. Are we looking? Is somebody actually taking a?
So what you're saying is right. Our leaders and security agencies are alarmed with this development because their response has been normal. Held security meetings, service chiefs briefed the president, police said we are tracking and all that. We have not seen radical transformational alternative in terms of how to combat this. And we are watching helplessly as the entire nation appear to be giving way to this one. When you recall that second in command of an international terrorist organization was killed in Nigeria, it tells you that Nigeria is of particular interest. A foothold. Remember that the US came. Something must have led to their coming. They rarely send boots on ground in foreign countries. The fact that they have them here and they have deployed their area surveillance strategy tells you a lot. And I'm beginning to suspect strongly that these international terrorist organizations are using Nigeria to raise funds. These school abductions, the other time we were told that billions were paid through the NSA's office. The NSA office denied that. We know that payments are being made. The huge sums of money being paid as ransom. I can put my money feet down that it is a means of funding terrorist activities across the Sahel.
And Uju Eje, welcome to the program. It's sad that we are again talking about, and this is multiple schools, not just one school now, coordinated at a particular time.
At the same time. It's so sad that we're still witnessing these kind of things up to this stage. You talked about the one of Chibok and, of course, the Dapchi girls. Don't forget that. And Leah Sharibu is still, nobody can still account for Leah Sharibu till tomorrow. And now we are having this just at the point where we thought, oh, thank God, the U.S. military and Nigeria have been able to do something at least about insurgency in Nigeria. They've been able to record some measure of victory. Now, Amechi made a point about the fact that radical measures have not been employed. Because when you have serious situations, you take drastic, radical measures to solve them. We have not seen that on the part of the authorities. And then, remember what was attributed to late General Sani Abacha, who says that if insurgency lasts for a long time, then you know that there are internal hands, maybe even within the authorities of that country. Some people have begun to think along that line. Look at all the monies voted. Look at even the things that have been done. At any time America comes to assist us and records a victory, something more drastic, something more terrible happens. The last time it was the Kwara State Axis. Now we have them infiltrating Oyo, although the one of Oyo doesn't quite surprise me because these things have been going on for a long time. If you remember, it's Shaki. I hope I'm getting it. Yes, Shaki. It has been on for decades. It didn't just start today. But look at Ekiti. That is a very, very new trend. And nobody knows if it will get to Ogun or Lagos very soon, although we had some incursions into Lagos 3 years ago. Now, I think that the authorities have to stand up. The political will has to be there for them to tackle this. Even if there are people within the system, within the military or anywhere, as some persons are insinuating, that have a hand in what is happening, we need to really take a very close look, a decisive look, and, deal with them. Let us not be afraid to deal with these people. We have what it takes. There is no country that does not have the power to deal with insurgents, to deal with terrorists within its
Look
territory.
at issue of state police.
If we are
Everybody is singing that song, rhetoric. But what practical steps have we taken? That would have been something new, different. Oh, the Senate leader yesterday issued a statement. Oh, the Senate will... I said, this is what you should have done a long time ago.
If you ask me, I will tell you that first of all, let me commend our military. We have lost a lot of gallant soldiers, commanders, generals. We cannot really discount the effort of the men on the ground. But when you are when you are fighting a war, when you have people who have a system, you understand that this is not a conventional war. And we are losing our brightest persons, soldiers in the field every day, from one to the other, and we don't have any concrete measure on ground. We don't have any concrete step we have put on ground. There are no policy changes. All the government, successive government, including this government, have been doing is same reactions.
Same reactions.
Maybe we also need to Okiria, we need to go beyond that.
And Amechi mentioned something,
which
is very, very instructive. This idea of paying ransom, because we cannot begin to run away from it. Yet government has denied that they did it. But who does not know when a piece of meat is in your mouth and you say, it has disappeared? Who does not know where it has gone to? We know where the meat has gone to.
Beyond the issues of ransom, you spoke about policy. Nigeria is so big with a lot of forest, but you also have a lot of ungoverned spaces around the country.
Particularly in our forests.
Yes. And then you cannot, detach that ungoverned spaces with lack of development. And the issue of insecurity, let me give you a typical example. There were times during the Bakassi crisis, they took parts of Borno and gave it to Cameroon. And in a bid to do some stories, myself and a few private crew travel around and discover that between Bama and Banki, half of the town in the northeast is Cameroon, the half in Borno. You are talking about the issues of lack of electricity, water supply, hospital. Those villagers enjoy the electricity from Cameroon. Then their children who are going to Cameroonian school. If you have sick people, you take them down to Cameroon. And in Kano and Katsina, we are aware of so many people have to travel to cross to Niger to get some of the adequate medical services. And once you have ungoverned spaces, the bad elements will enter
Take
and govern it
advantage,
for
yes.
you. We keep losing our military, our police, those in uniform, but for how long can we keep
that's the
losing
question. That is
because
actually
the
the question.
various governments have failed. It's very unfortunate.
That is actually the question. It's like lip service by successive governments, same reactions, same attitude,
Or no reaction at all.
budgets. They bring in a lot of money, and recently we started to see, we're ransom paid, we're not paid, and after some time, some are released. These are some of the same pattern that we have had.
Now,
they
who
must
are
do
the
something new.
coordinators of this ransom payment? Which means that the authorities, in the course of paying these ransoms, know where these people are. They know where these terrorists are. They know where these bandits are. So it's just a matter of, proper intelligence and coordination to get them out, because they are known and where they are is known.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back from the break, we will be going into the political arena. Today, the senatorial primaries of the APC is on. I can tell you it is hot out there. It's like a list. Some person said a list was drawn. Some say no, it is just competition. And you also get those who were incumbent across some states that we can quickly give you who lost out. And when you hear that the oldest, the oldest, the oldest man in the, when I say age, when I say old, not age, I mean the longest serving House of lawmaker in the National Assembly couldn't get a ticket in the House of Representatives, Mutu from Delta State, you understand. When we come back, we have all the details, and we have our guests also to tell you what's happening in Edo and parts of Nigeria. Please don't go away.
In the hallowed chambers where laws are forged and a nation's destiny is decided.
This is your parliamentary program, Inside the Parliament on AIT.
Voices rise, opinions clash, debates ignite.
We cannot be apologetic in the discharge of our constitutional duties as lawmakers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The burden of proving that the elections have been conducted peacefully and in accordance with law must shift to INEC.
From the Senate to the House of Representatives, this is where policies are tested, laws are crafted, and authority is held to account.
We spoke to some lawmakers on their opinions of the document presented by the president.
Every motion, every argument carries the hopes of millions.
We need more hospitals, more health clinics in communities so that they can effectively take care of the primary health need of our people.
The questions are tough. The exchanges are intense.
Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice.
And those who want the proviso are 55 in number. And so the proviso says.
But who truly stands for the people? Who is driving the change that defines our tomorrow?
Let us tell ourselves the truth. Why are we here talking about LGBT, GTBT, whatever?
Get the answers on Where Nigeria Decides on Inside the Parliament on AIT every Tuesday, 4:30 p.m.
Get ready for a bold new chapter in political discourse. This month of May, the conversations that matter most are stepping into the spotlight like never before.
Welcome back to Political Platform. It is different strokes for aspiring National Assembly candidates across Nigeria. Prospective new entrants, including Pascal Okechukwu, popularly known as Cubana Chief Priest from Imo State, and so many across Nigeria got wiped. And previous members like former Deputy Senate Leader Bala Ibunaala and Smart Adeyemi from Kogi State withdrew. They withdrew in Kebbi and Kogi State for today's contest in the senatorial contest. In Edo State, there is war between Osaze Izeyamu and Omoreje Ogbede Ihama in what appears to be an open confrontation between Governor Okpebholo and former Governor Senator Adams Oshomole. In Rivers, many candidates in the camp of FCT Minister Nyesom Wike celebrated victory. Now, let's have a quick take before we bring in our guests on
The scenario in Edo State is very, very interesting. I mean, these were people who were very, very chummy, who cooperated during the election, talking about distinguished Senator Adams Oshomole, the former governor and the current governor. They were together during the election, and suddenly it appeared that Jongo don't mature. And Okpeholo's boys are whipping the Abuja guys.
The governor is
in the contest.
Yeah, the governor is playing very smartly, not wanting to be dragged
into it. Yes.
Into it. He cannot possibly openly confront the former governor because he's the one that actually orchestrated his coming on, supported him, even though he didn't support him initially. But
you can see the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob, and you can see what his boys are doing. It's like the state boys and the federal boys. You can see that the whole lot of them are losing. And one that really may surprise me is the one of the majority leader of the House of Representatives, the Prof himself, and Ihabere. And the man, a gentleman, very cerebral. And Edo State will not have the opportunity.
There were conflicting reports. Some say he won, some say he lost.
No.
So
he lost.
Some say we have a long list of those who won. Who lost? I mean, those incumbents who lost.
I have them right here.
We will be giving you them. This list from Benue to Nasarawa to other. But let's remain in Edo and speak with my friend and former colleague on the Guardian newspapers. Is now a lawyer. He ran away from the media and joined those wearing the wig. Talking about Barrister Jefferson Wogire, he's a legal practitioner with a very high dose of journalism background in Benin. Welcome to the program, Jefferson.
Thank you very much.
Now we have a two-horse race now. We have Osaze Ize Yamu, and we have Ubede Hama. What is happening in Edo South?
Thank you very much, my brother, for having me on your program. I hope I'm audible enough, please. Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Tell us what is happening in Edo South.
Well, it's a very simple situation being blown out of proportion. It's a battle between the new wigs and those who have appropriated power for personal use over the years, and now they are having it tough with a different sheriff in town. Within APC, the situation is very, very fluid, and with potential, room for violence. But among the other political parties, where you have a PDP, ADC, and NDP, or what they call it, you don't seem to have this. The reason is very simple. The election, the senatorial election within APC today will determine the outcome of the gubernatorial election within APC primary in 2028. The reason is very simple. The governor is trying to keep to his words, and try to act differently in a very positive manner in terms of agreement he has reached with a lot of important stakeholders within his own party. This whole thing started in 2020 when Obaseki was denied the governorship of a governorship ticket in APC, and he had to move over to PDP. And at that time, Ubedi Haba was the near candidate of the PDP, and was prevailed upon by a lot of stakeholders in PDP then to step down for Governor Obaseki, with the understanding that he will get the senatorial seats in the subsequent election. Unfortunately, 4 years ago, when this whole primary thing started, Ubedi Haba, did not get the ticket as promised by Governor Obaseki and his team, and they all walked away in the last gubernatorial election to go and support the APC.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's
the network.
Yeah, unfortunately, the voice is dragging, and we cannot. He was making very frank, straight analysis of the background to this crisis. How Onyeagba was given a promise, and that promise was not fulfilled, and he couldn't get it. And now the governor is also playing and trying to fulfill the promise as a gentleman to say, let us give opportunity to somebody. But the powers that be, according to what is happening in Benin, the Abuja factor, the Oshomole factor, those who want to have it their own way are thinking that that promise by the governor should not be fulfilled. That is the background to the crisis. When we are able to get Jefferson back on, I think we have gotten him back. Jefferson, are you there now? Well, he's not able to get back. Was making very valid. Now
it's actually a fight between godfathers and godsons, but then the limitation of opportunities for the contestants is also a serious problem, because once you are disqualified, you cannot also go to any other political party.
That is actually,
there are a lot of cries across APC states in northern Nigeria. Many of them actually went to the social media to declare that they were actually forced out of the contest. Of course, people like Balana Allah, who have been there in the National Assembly for a very long time.
He protested over the weekend.
Yeah. Then you just begin to see what happened. That very hardworking lawmakers like Balana Allah have been pushed out. The biggest question I'm trying to ask is, can APC survive this, what I call injustice in court, that you push your party members, prominent party members? They should have allowed an open contest. The people would have chosen whom they wanted, instead of pushing people, knocking them out technically at the screening level.
But you know that Balana Allah had been having a problem with his constituency. Recall, he's a pilot, he flies planes too. As far as he's a lawyer, he also flies planes. And when he took a plane to his village, if you remember that time, and the people descended on him, they almost injured him, and he had to quickly run. Yeah, he had to quickly take off. So he had that problem. That was why he didn't come back in this 10th assembly. So some of them already had that problem, and I think that problem eventually caught up with them this time around.
Yeah, he issued a press statement saying that the processes were flawed and that he's withdrawing from the race. That is the race that is happening today. He's not the only one. Smart Adeyemi from Kogi West. Yes, Kogi West also issued a statement saying he is respecting the zoning formula
do they have options?
In his area.
They don't have options. The only governor that did not push his men through is Fubara of Rivers State. Every other governor, expectedly, was able to push in.
But you know why that happened?
Even in Benue, the candidates, or those on the side of the SGF, many of them were thrown out. So everybody knows the pattern of Nigeria's politics. For those National Assembly tickets, if you don't have the support of the governor, you're working on a light thread.
But it's a different ball game for Senator Smart Adeyemi. He actually has the support of Ododo. He has the support of former governor. About the configuration of the politics within Kogi West suggests that Sunday Karimi, who is just running his first tenure, is supported to complete so that he can move to other
mini
they have a way of just shifting politics around the area. And he said, look, in order to respect that movement, he decided that he's going to withdraw and also to support the party to win elections in the coming elections. Painful as
well, he had witnessed concessions in the past too against Dino Melaye, so it's his own turn to concede.
And zoning is very strong in some federal and senatorial constituencies as per National Assembly seats. Those are always try to move against this zoning principle. Most of the time, just a few that survive.
Now let's go just from Delta to Rivers State. You mentioned Rivers State in passing. That it does appear that even Fubara is not sure of his own ticket, so he's battling for his life. It was not a time to be battling for other people. And the Wike is like a bulldozer in that area with the strength that he has put there. Some person said it's like a moving train. If you stay on his way, you are crushed. And a lot of them celebrated yesterday who are in his camp, including the speaker, who has gotten the ticket to go to the House of Representatives. And if you go to Delta, Uju mentioned it in passing, the oldest, the longest
seven-time lawmaker, seven-time.
He couldn't get the ticket. Delta State is a different ballgame altogether. And they said there's a list that is just drawn, a list is drawn. And when you go to that screening, if you are lucky, you are able to pass through the screening, not just in Delta, across Nigeria. If you are able to pass through the screening, then you are lucky. But getting into the primaries itself is difficult because there are a lot of unwritten rules by leaders. We are going to see a play out in Delta North today, Delta North and Delta Central.
For the senatorial.
For the senatorial, this is going to be very, very tricky, where you have former Governor Okowa squaring up with Ned Woko in the north, and you have Onyeagba down south squaring up with the incumbent senator. We don't know how that is going to...
We know how it will turn out. We can easily predict. Mostly governors' candidates will sail through, and the other ones will lament, and they have options. Like Mustafa pointed out, they are trapped. When they were passing the Electoral Act amendments,
they didn't know it would affect them.
They didn't know. They knew, but we were shouting that you'll be the first victim. So they are trapped. So they will either continue lamenting, cooperate with the party, or do what do you call it? Anti-party activity. The options are there.
You know, it's dangerous to do anti-party. It's dangerous to do anti-party now. First, you cannot easily jump into another party like what we witnessed in the past, because the door is sealed up. Your name must have been in the political party. You must have contested by May 10. You must have contested. Now you don't have a political party because INEC, through the Electoral Act provision, has shut the door.
The anti-party is to support another party.
If you support another party, what do you gain?
To teach him a lesson. Have you forgotten the phrase in Nigeria's politics? We'll teach him a lesson.
But there was somebody who defected right on the spot during the screening exercise. I would look at that.
I hope he has
maybe he has a plan B.
But it's time for us to take the next guest. But when we come back from this break that we are taking now, we'll take the next guests, and we'll be talking with Dr. Elijah Onyeagba. Onyeagba, he won the APC reps House of Reps primaries in Koka, Onyeagba, Dunokofia Federal Constituency. Of course, we need to talk to somebody, not just lamenting those who lost. We talk to somebody who is celebrating. Please don't go away. You are on to Political Platform, and we'll be back shortly.
Stories now break online. Anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
For remaining with us on Political Platform, and we told you earlier that we have a long list of those who couldn't come back, incumbents who couldn't come back. We'll be taking them and telling you as we have this interview with Dr. Elijah Onyeagba, as it says,
Elijah Onyeagba.
Okay, Onyeagba. Thank you. I think it's the typographical errors on my script. Who won the APC House of Reps primaries for Koka, Onyeagba, Dunokofia Federal Constituency. Thank you for joining us. Please forgive us for murdering your name initially. Please tell us how joyful is it to win these primaries? I know the battle ahead is still tough, but at least you are smiling.
Oh, thank you very much, and good morning, Nigerians. It's been an interesting event. Yes, there will be joy with this victory, but like every politician knows, it's always the first step. So whenever you have primaries, you're likely to have a few bruises here and there. This is politics, and it's what we refer to as the game of wit, where you find out that a lot of people are trying to find a way to outwit one another. But the battle ahead is such that whoever that emerges as a candidate will eventually have a lot of work to do, trying to unite the party, trying to bring everyone together, towards the general elections. Here in Anambra State, the primary elections for the Federal House of Representatives took place yesterday across the length and breadth of the 21 states. Anambra State has about 11 House of Representatives positions. Some local governments that are big enough, that are quite large, have one federal constituency, whereas in my own case, we have about 3 local governments coming together to form my federal constituency, which is the Dunukofia and Jikoka and Nata federal constituency, or what we refer to as the DNA constituency here. So the elections was, it was conducted yesterday in a very peaceful manner. There are quite a few constituencies here and there that are still having challenges, but mine has been conducted and results has been also submitted. Clearly, for us, the APC made it very clear that there are procedure for you to, follow in conducting the primary elections. And the circular they released said that results will be collated at the ward because it's a direct primary. From the ward, you take it to the local government, and from the local government, you get to where a center that is designated for the federal constituency collation, So we follow through that process. And then,
Dr. Onyeagba.
Yes.
Yes. You said everything, it was peaceful. Beyond the apparent peace, deep down, the first battle before you get to the main election would be to deal with internal rancor that may have generated. Of course, I know what happened during the last governorship election in Anambra, where the party had issues. So how are you dealing as a party, not just with you, with those internal rancor to put your house in order ahead of the main election in January 2027?
Well, it's just one election that was conducted 2 days ago. At the moment, there are the appeal committee for the Federal House of Representatives elections is going on. And today as well is the elections for the senatorial candidate. So this panel that came from Abuja is to conduct the National Assembly elections, which is the House of Reps and the senatorial elections, primary elections. But like I said, I had already seen the results in my constituency, and I could see that I won the elections. I'd already gone ahead to start trying to mend fences, because usually, this is a game of interest. Everybody have got their interest. And sometimes, people, you find that you are bruised one way or the other, your ego or whatever.
In other words, there are some...
Dr.
Onyeagba, in other words, there are some persons who are protesting, who are complaining that probably they were cheated or something.
No, it's normal. I mean, this is not new. This is politics. Sometimes when you go to the field, there can only be one winner in every election. In my constituency, we were 3 that contested. It always happens. Sometimes when you feel that your opponents haven't won, you will feel bad one way or the other. So that's why I called it a game of wits, where people are trying to outwit one another. But that will happen, and that's natural. That's expected, even in primaries and in
I know,
elections.
Dr. Onyeagba, you're linked with the City Boys movement. So your victory in Anambra is a plus for the City Boys movement, but not so for your friend in Imo State. You understand what I mean?
Yes, again, it's about the people here. I understand the City Boy tag yes, I work with the City Boy movement, but even before the City Boy movement, I've been in politics for a very long time. I'm a grassroots politician. I contested for elections in 2019. That is actually about 8 years ago. And I became an ambassador to South Federal Republic of Nigeria. So it's not City Boy. I'm a politician before City Boy came to the picture.
One of the concerns, one of the questions people raise about Anambra politics with APC is that Anambra is run by another political party, APGA, and that APGA is rooted on the ground, and that getting victory at these primaries is good to smile and say it's good, but is it going to be easy?
And the P2B factor?
The P2B factor in Anambra State. Are you worried? Are you concerned that you have a lot of job to do?
I am aware that it's not worry, it's not concern. I'm very much informed. I'm aware that a lot of work is required. And again, going back historically in Anambra State, typically, yes, APGA is a rooted party in Anambra State, but the effect and the influence of APGA is always seen in the gubernatorial elections as well as the State House of Assembly elections. Usually in the general elections, late Ifeanyi Ubada died. One election actually in YPP. That is not an APGA, in an APGA-dominated environment. And in the past, PDP has always swept positions here. In any case, in this my Anambra Central as well, Ngige also won elections with APC in Anambra Central. So the elections beyond the party will eventually become an issue of competence, character, individuals that are involved in the elections. And typically, when you come in an elections, people will always support who they feel. I understand the concern. Like I said, I'm pretty much aware of what the challenges are ahead. Having an APC ticket is actually maybe a certain percentage of the work. I know that there's a lot of work that is required. And even in Anambra State, it's not just the party that determines who wins elections. A lot of stakeholders are involved. They come out and they feel that the right candidate must be supported to fly the flag.
All right.
So I'm very much abreast of what is going on, and I am actually ready to do the needful across party lines. The governor of Anambra State always talks about progressive working together. So we will find the common ground.
Thank you very much, Elijah Onyeagba, who is APC House of Representatives candidate to face any other candidates from other parties in the coming elections. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Thank you so much.
He was quite right there, because if you look at the whole of the Southeast, Anambra seems to be more sophisticated in politics. That's a place, like he rightly pointed out about late Ifeanyi Uba, winning on the platform of YDP. That bandwagon effect has not fully worked in Anambra State. And so, like he said, he may have a chance, even though there's a ruling party in Anambra.
And the P2B factor.
Yes, because
let's just quickly run through the list of, we promise you a list, just some states where we have the incumbents who lost out in the election. Let's begin from Benue State. We have Austin Achado in the Gwe East and Gwe West, who polled 729 votes against winner David Nongo that got 17,000 plus. What that one means that the incumbent was defeated. In the other area, we have David Ogewu, who was also defeated by Peter Ogbodo, a new entrant into the party. If we go to the other constituency, Tessa Ugbo defeated, he also lost his ticket too, and Seke Iyotom lost against Gideon Iyom, who had over 10,000 votes. Dixon I don't know how to get this names. Managed 1,000, just 1,000 out of 30, against the opponents 37,000 in who won in Arab. You come to Nasarawa State, Amechi.
Yes, two-term member Are Abdulmumin Muhammad Nasarawa Toto Federal constituency was defeated by Mohammed Al-Bashir Babe Yarima, who pulled over 30,000 votes. Then one-term incumbent Jeremiah Umaru, that's for Akwanga Wamba Nasarawa Ego Federal constituency, placed second with over 4,000 votes, losing to Tony Bala Shaman, who got nearly over 38,000 votes.
Yes, and we have we also have things from Plateau. We have
the issue of
Gagdi, who polled 5,849 votes and lost to Dr. John Toshineng, who garnered 29,000 votes. You know, Gagdi is one of the incumbents that fell by the wayside, and he was quite a strong member of Nigeria's House of Representatives. He even contested the speakership, if you remember. And for him to fall like this,
the zoning in that patch area.
And in Edo, we have a lawmaker, a serving lawmaker, a Silsa, where he lost to APC's, he lost the APC's to Oredo Federal constituency, former commissioner for education, Dr. Paddy Yamu. And he was elected into the House of Representatives on the platform of the Labour Party. Some of them actually were elected on the platform of the Labour Party who jumped into the APC are finding it difficult. Now, we cannot go around all of it. In our subsequent episodes, we'll be telling you how they all fell by the wayside. But let's quickly take our mails. I know that you also want to hear from us. We want to hear from you, what has been happening around you, what you have been observing, and that is why we decide that we give you the opportunity to tell us what is happening. Uju, who is coming on first?
Taiwo Olunrin from Ota, Ogun State. And he says, the abduction of pupils in Orure local government is not just a security issue. It reflects a gradual weakening of Yoruba cultural values and local community power. There was a time the old Oyo kingdom was known for discipline, vigilance, and strong traditional authority that made criminals fear our land. Today, local structures have been weakened, communities are less united, and criminals now operate with boldness. This tragedy should remind us that security is not only about government forces, but also about restoring community vigilance, respect for traditional institutions, and the collective spirit that once protected Yoruba communities. The second one is from Comrade Monday Ame. And he says, I wish to use this medium to commend American forces and the armed forces of Nigeria for the unprecedented gallantry in taking out Abu Bilal al-Minuki, second in command of ISIS, in a coordinated joint operation in Sokoto State over the weekend. We should all bear in mind that today's victims were yesterday's survivors, and today's victims may be today's survivors. Hence, all hands must be on deck to rid Nigeria of banditry, insurgency, abduction, and insecurity. If you see something, say something.
Well, the next one is from Dixon Eka from Abuja, and he says, despite all the negative energies of the Tinubu administration, from subsidy removal to flotation of the Naira to reckless borrowing and increase in taxation without funding the budget with non-payment of contractors, resulting in massive sufferings, poverty, and low life expectancy ratio, the chances of President Tinubu winning the 2027 election to make sure the country go down in poverty is brighter today than ever with the desperation of the opposition figures. P2B, who doesn't want to spend money to win the election, should have known and copied from Tinubu to be patient for Atiku Abubakar to make him his vice president and then hand over power to him. Kwankwaso would have lobbied for secretary to the government of the federation and then position himself to take over from P2B. The calculations of Dixon's Eka. And nephew Intia from Sangoata in Ogun State says, if APC as a ruling party today cannot conduct a free, fair, and credible in-house primary elections as seen over the weekend, what do we think would happen in the 2027 general election? Unfortunately, Nigerian politicians see politics as an avenue of making money to spend recklessly without accountability, and this must stop now. We need to make politics less lucrative financially, and we shall have stability in our democracy and in our elections. The reason we are not having competent, capable, and sincere individuals in politics is because those in authority today use money acquired in political office to intimidate and oppress others. This also must be stopped.
We must appreciate you for your mails. Please keep them coming. We have the privilege of sharing your thoughts and your opinion, and there's true political platform at dagroup.com. Mustafa Mohammed, we have a very serious situation of insecurity from Oyo. It started down Borno, back to Borno, a lot of crisis happening just as we wrap up. What do you think we as citizens should do to also assist? It's easier to blame government for not doing things. They should actually take the lead.
I think the citizens need to share information with the authorities. But you see, our police, our army, our security chief, they are not magicians. They need the information. Number two, it has to also be that government, the ministry, the defense headquarters, and whatever must provide training, must provide logistics. They have to work on intelligence. And then you can see what collaboration with the United States has done. But most of all, government must reduce poverty. It's not the television and radio anti-poverty, whatever the governors are launching, and then immediately after the launch, all these centers are empty. They really need to do the real thing. If you look at our population, we have to keep planning.
I'm happy you mentioned poverty and the fact that you're asking the communities to cooperate with security agencies by providing intelligence. The truth is that the poverty level in Nigeria is so high that if you don't have the situation we have today, then that's a night wonder.
Will the sharing of rice solve this poverty? Because
certainly not. You need to have the people positively engaged. You need, particularly the youths. That's why when they dangle a few dollars before them, they are recruited. We need to plan for our youths. In our rolling plan, there is basically nothing for the youths of this country, and that has led us to where we are over the decades. We need to start including the youths in our plans. We need to engage them positively. Let's channel money into providing industries. Let's resuscitate dead industries to employ these youths. And please, let us fish out the moles. The moles within the military, the moles within the security apparatus.
Why would community members give intelligence to terrorists and not to Nigerian government officials? Why? That's the question they must find an answer to.
One, I will add by conclusion that if you refuse to educate the people, if you treat education with levity, if there's no investment, the population is, particularly young people, are not having the opportunity to be educated. They will get whatever they want to get by crook, by whatever means they want to get it. Because education helps in enlightenment, broadening people's minds. They are poor. It helps the illiteracy foils poverty. And if we are playing with our education and we are not paying teachers and we don't build schools and we don't care what is happening, and in the north we continue to pretend the Almajiri form of education is better than Western education, then we will eat what we cook. That is exactly how it is going to be. And we want to thank you for being part of the program today on behalf of my colleagues here. Tomorrow when we come back on the platform, we have more for you on development policy and issues around what is happening in the political environment in Nigeria. My name is Onyeagba. Thank you for staying with us.